Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing the LG 34GL750. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, throw same Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing open. This is a top open, grabbing our knife here. All right, now this is an IPS monitor. Now LG is most well known for their ultra-wide IPS monitor. So this is a big deal, but LG also makes primarily high-end ultra-wides. Now this is a non-high-end gaming ultra-wide that's an IPS, so it's a big deal. The only thing it really lacks here on paper is resolution. This is a 1080p, but that ultra-wideness, so it's going from 1440p down to 1080p, but sub $400 price point. Okay, so we have the stand right in here. Ooh, this looks like a different style stand that I've never seen before. This looks quite good. Okay, opening this up. The other thing that's kind of crazy is at this sub $400 price point, you're getting that NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. Fantastic. Very cool looking stand. Totally different from their other ones. I'm really digging it. Much more gamery. I think it looks very attractive. Now, on the bottom, not a high quality thumb screw. This doesn't matter. It just means that you can't screw it in with your thumb. All right, and then the rest of the stuff in the box, we've got some manuals, and LG always includes a loose DVD, kind of strange. And then we got, ooh, a little cable clip, little cable channel for the back. I like that. Then we got a DisplayPort cable and the power cable. Again, this is not one of those super long ones. I don't really like it. I prefer the other style that they have, but not a big deal. All right, and then lifting this off the top, just like that. LG also does a great job all the time with their packaging, but here is the stand sitting right over there in the corner. Let's take this tape off right here. We can just break that. Now this also looks like a different style stand, which I'm very interested in because I review a ton of LG products. And there we are. Okay, a clip-in stand, interesting. It's at the top instead of the middle usually, but it is a clip-in. It does have tilt right there and obviously height adjustability. We got the red on the back. It looks very cool. In fact, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a PS5. Doesn't that look like a PS5 right there? It looks like a little miniature PS5. Let's take this plastic off right now. Glossy sides. I absolutely love it, but I really don't want to touch it, so I'm gonna grab it up here. Wow, that actually looks so good. I don't know how good that's gonna look over time, but it is on the side, so it should have less dust, but it looks super good. Honestly, I don't know why they don't use this more, but let's get the stand put on here. Let's grab this, stick it into the bottom, and we're gonna see if we can screw it in just a little bit, and then we're gonna have to go get a little flathead screwdriver or a coin, whatever works. You're gonna try to screw this in, and it's gonna feel tight, but trust me, it'll wiggle on your table. So get yourself maybe a coin or something. Now that's tight in there. Man, I'm actually really interested why they don't use this kind of stand more. It looks really, really attractive. But again, don't put your fingerprints on that. All right, now we also have this piece in here, which matches. It's gloss black. This is fantastic. This is very cool. And then that just clips onto the back, just like that. And then that's the cable clip right there, which is very, very cool. But that's enough talk. Let's get this thing out of the box. All right, so pulling it right up, it is curved, which I couldn't really remember. Let's take this out of the plastic, pulling it down, and look at that different design. This is not your typical average Ultragear style design. Now I'm gonna have to touch the gloss black, it's okay. Put it into the top right there, and then just clip it in, and it's all clipped in. Fantastic and ready to go. Putting my fingers all over this, but doesn't look like it has a ton of fingerprints, so that's actually not bad. We're seeing a little bit, but not too bad. All right, putting this on the desk. I'm gonna put this backwards first. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with the overall design. This is so much different than other Ultragears. This is very cool. All right, let's take off all this plastic. Got a ton of it, a ton of gloss, which I don't mind on a monitor, guys. On stuff like phones, I do, but look at how cool this looks. This has got to be one of the coolest looking LG monitors that they've ever made, and this is like a more budget one. I don't know what's going on. Taking the plastic off of the top, all the way down through the bottom, one piece, that's nice. Man, that's a stunning monitor. Okay, so coming over here to the ports, this is where you start to see budget. We have DisplayPort, 2 HDMIs, and then a 3.5mm audio out. That's it, no USBs, no nothing like that. But again, sub $400 for a curved LG IPS ultra-wide monitor, that's a big deal. For reference, the monitor that I use every day is an LG Ultrawide Gaming Monitor. That one's like 800 bucks. One of my favorite other LG monitors, 1,300, 1,500 bucks. So this is a treat. So let's get this around. All right, now we got more plastic on the front. There's a ton of plastic on this. There we go. Now, interesting, they chose not to go with glossy on the front. So you can see this right here, all matte. The red's matte. This is even matte, and then you can see on the side, glossy, matte, and then matte in the front, and then it's glossy in the back. Now again, you're probably never gonna see the back much, but I love that they kept that element of matte in the front, gloss in the back. I love that. All right, now the stand. Up and down. I do have to say, this stand is not quite as nice as the other ones. Just for the movement, coming up feels a little bit less fluid. Going down especially is a little bit more resistance than the other ones. Not too big of a deal, guys. That doesn't matter. The tilt does feel quite nice though. Everything's nice. You can see this thing gets super tall and it gets pretty close to the desk. In fact, this gets closer to the desk than a lot of the other LG monitors. So that is a plus. But that's enough talk. Let's get this thing on the desk to the initial gaming impressions. Overall, how good it is. We'll go through the menu system, and then at the end, we're gonna do a ghosting test. Stay tuned. All right, guys, now we got it all hooked up, connected to the PC, but let's turn this thing on. I'm excited. All right, so turning this on, we got the typical menu system from LG down there, clicking it in, and there we go, it's powering on. All right, so right away, it's up. Let's go through the menu systems to just check everything. So we got this accessibility. We're just gonna go off. And then in here, typical menu system, we're gonna go over to menu. And these are the different settings. You can see 144 Hertz, we have adaptive sync, we have G-Sync, FreeSync. This is the motion blur reduction, response time, HDR. So let's go over to Gamer 2, FPS, RTS, Vivid, Reader, HDR effect. Okay, so we're gonna go up to, we're gonna do Gamer 1, and then we're gonna go down to Game Adjust, and this is where we got G-Sync compatible FreeSync Premium, which is awesome. That means it's certified by NVIDIA. Black stabilizer, response time, we're gonna test those later at the end of the video. We have crosshairs, which I've actually used in game, which is fantastic. Brightness, so let's turn this thing all the way up to 100%. And it looks pretty, actually quite good and bright. I wouldn't say this is mind-blowing. Definitely not over 500 nits or probably even 400 nits, but it's so hard because we have so many lights on in the room right now. But again, that's in the full review. Subscribe below if you want to check that out. Coming in a few days. All right, then contrast, sharpness, you got everything else in there. Now, inputs, again, your two HDMI's display port, and then some other stuff. The power LED, I like to keep that on. It's basically just this thing glowing down here. It's kind of cool. All right, but before we get in game and see how this thing does, let's go into the NVIDIA control panel, and it's set at 144 Hertz, which is what its max is. Let's see if this thing can output 10 bits of color. And it can. Absolutely fantastic. Let's apply that. That is something I wasn't expecting. So basically, so far, and we're gonna test the ghosting, so far this is giving you basically everything that the high-end ones do that an 800 double the price gives you. And even the build quality is unique, except for the fact that it doesn't have 1440p, it's 1080p. And yes, it's pixelated. Can you tell it's pixelated? Yes. Is it that bad? Let's see. That's also gonna be in the full review, but initial impressions, let's get to it. Okay, so guys, we're not quite in game yet. However, I can tell you the resolution, when you're in game, obviously resolution on a desktop is always gonna seem more pixelated than in game because things are moving around. But I will tell you, with full anti-aliasing on, you can see around doorways, you can see some pixels, right? For sure, you can see some pixels, but the trade-off is that you get maximum frames because whenever you're doing an ultrawide, if you're doing a 1440p ultrawide, these pixels on the side, the extra that you have to always account for. And so even if you are running this panel, that you're gonna get less resolution, but you're also gonna be able to run probably ultra settings on most games. That's something that is pretty cool. The other thing that's always interesting to me whenever I watch someone spectating, if you haven't noticed, they're taking a long time to take this point, is you actually see this on the side that you would never have seen before. So whenever I'm spectating someone, I always see that they cannot see the edges. They always miss enemies. All right, right in game. Right away. I can tell you right away from someone who uses a 1440p panel, ultra-wide, LG curved, just like this one, basically the same everything. This is different, but the overall experience is very similar. Obviously, once you start getting into, scoping into stuff, then it starts getting a little bit different. However, the overall experience, the prettiness, the vibrancy, having it be an IPS panel, that's huge. And that's something that isn't lost here, which is pretty amazing at a $400 price point, as well as the fact that you can run things definitely at a higher frame rate. Now, while we're spectating again, I wanna actually take the camera. Now, this is about what you're going to see. So if you turn your image to full, this is about what you're gonna see when you're actually gaming on this thing. And you can see, even if you're in full screen, this is really quite good still. Now, the PPI definitely is much more pixelated. So if we get closer here, you can see on the gun, you can definitely see pixels. That being said, if you're on a budget and you're gonna go for a 27-inch panel that's 1440p and 400 bucks, or you can go with this for 400 bucks, bringing down that resolution, but basically keeping everything else. Me personally, I would go with this one 9 times out of 10. But I think it's enough gaming. Let's get into that ghosting test. That's actually gonna be really interesting. Now, the other high-end LG monitors, IPS ones, typically have really, really good ghosting. So we're gonna see if this is a similar situation. Let's check it out. Right off the bat, there is some ghosting, definitely more. Do keep in mind, way less than any VAO panel like ever. This is IPS level ghosting. There is definitely more than I was expecting. Let's go into the settings and set this thing to faster. Now in faster, it does have some pixel overshooting, but it does decrease the ghosting. I would say, that's tough. I would say it's probably good in fast. I would say it's probably the best one in fast, although faster does definitely decrease it, but it adds the pixel overshooting. I would say probably fast is the best one. Now I'm gonna tell you this, I'm a little let down by that. However, $400 compared to double the price. So this is definitely not as fast of a panel as far as ghosting, pixel response time, not input lag. A lot of people mess that up. The ghosting is far superior to any VA panel. I'm just gonna say that, it's far superior to any VA panel, but I would say it's right in line for its price. And overall, I am really impressed with this monitor. I would say probably the biggest thing would be the ghosting is not quite as good, but again, those are minimal differences, especially when you're in game, and we're gonna have to test the brightness and other things like that, but that's in the full review. Again, if you wanna check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But remember, this is gonna be a full review coming in a few days, so subscribe below. If you are already not subscribed, it might already be out, so check it out probably in one of these corners right here. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.